Greetings, everyone. Pete Pardo here from Sea of Tranquility. Welcome to another edition of Ranking the Albums. Today, we're going to look at the studio discography of everyone's favorite U.S. band, or at least some people, Van Halen. All right? A lot of great albums. You know, two very cool singers, very different singers, all right? Two different eras. I'm going to kind of put them all together and rank them. But before I do that, I'm going to have a little fun. I guess this is kind of the trend lately, right? A little fun at the expense of a couple people. So I posted a video the other day, Creedence Clearwater Revival, ranking the studio albums, right? I happened to be wearing a Ted Nugent State of Shock album cover t-shirt, right? You got these couple of folks all up in arms over the fact that I'm wearing a Ted Nugent shirt. And do you know that he tortures animals and that he's threatened to kill presidents and he talks more nonsense than anything else? I guess you condone that and promote that sort of thing on your show. All this kind of nonsense. Totally up in arms that I wore a Nugent shirt. Listen, if you've been following the show for as long as you have, for as long as we've been on the air, I don't talk politics on this show. All right? I grew up as a kid loving Ted's guitar playing and a bunch of those 70s albums. I still like it. I try to think of Ted Nugent back in those days. All right? I don't give a fuck what Ted Nugent says nowadays. Is he a moron? Has he said a lot of stupid things over the last 20, 30 years? Sure he has. Do I pay any attention to that or give that any stock? No. All right? So if I'm wearing a Ted Nugent shirt on this show, it's because I like the album. I own two of them. All right? It's because I like the album. I like his guitar playing. I always have. I don't pay any attention to what Ted Nugent says or does these days. I don't, because I don't agree with a lot of it, but I separate myself. Politics and all that nonsense with the music. He put out some damn good music back in the 70s. That's all I care about. Ted Nugent, post 85 or 90, I don't pay any attention to. I've heard some of the albums that are all right, but when I think of Ted Nugent, I go back to that period. That's all I concern myself with. If you are going to say things like, I'm going to unsubscribe to this channel because Pardo is promoting that asshole Ted Nugent, I'm not. It's a fucking album, for Christ's sakes, people. Get over it, all right? Just stop taking this shit so seriously. I mean, please, come on. As you can tell, I didn't even mention it once during that show, right? Have I talked about Ted Nugent at all, other than to talk about his guitar playing or some of his classic albums? No. You know? But if you just can't take it, the fact that I wore a Nugent shirt and you're going to be up in arms and raise a big stink, you know what? Then go somewhere else. Go back to the bubble you came from. And, you know, because obviously you're paying a lot of attention to what Ted Nugent is doing and saying these days. Right? If you really disagree with what he represents, then don't pay attention to him. All right? God. It's like you're going to go everywhere on the internet where someone has something to say about Nugent or wears a Nugent shirt or plays a Nugent song from back in 1975, and you're going to, got to boycott those people now. I just don't get it. Anyway, rant over. 3 minutes. Van Halen, okay? So I have all of them except for one, and I'm sure most of you are going to pretty safely guess which one that is. I'm not really a fan of the album. I never needed to get it. I've heard it numerous times. You know, I'm talking about Van Halen 3 or VH3 from 1998. Of course, that's the lone album with Gary Cherone on vocals. You know, my problem with that album, it's got a couple good songs, right? Without You is a good song. Dirty Water Boy I like. Also, what's it called? Ballad for a Bullet, sorry. And Fire in the Hole. Those are pretty good songs. Not bad. I thought Gary Cherone did a decent job on vocals on that album. He kind of was a good fit. He kind of sounds like a little bit like Sammy on that album. My problem with that album always was that it's just not the songs just aren't very memorable. The songs aren't that heavy. You know, the guitar playing on it is, you know, it's Eddie, right? But it's just not like what you expect from Van Halen. To me, that album always just sounded like a band that was just kind of going through the motions, and just the spark of creativity just really wasn't there. So that's going to come in at the bottom of the list for me. Okay, Van Halen 3. Next up, I'm going to go with, and this was a pretty monster album for the band, and I think contained a ton of, you know, popular songs that made it onto FM radio, MTV videos, all that kind of stuff. I was never a huge fan of it because I think that it's just It's a real poppy album. And I think for me, anyway, it hasn't aged as well. Although the songs on there are actually pretty good. They're just, for me, not what you want to hear from Van Halen. I'm talking about OUA12 from '88. I remember, I was big into the 5150 album when it came out. And I remember when this came out, I was kind of like, not really digging it. Again, a lot of memorable songs on here. Black and Blue, Cabo Wabo, Feels So Good, right? When It's Love, Mine All Mine. I mean, these are all very popular songs. Not very Van Halen-ish to me. All right? Van Halen light. Again, looking back on it, it's not an album I go back to. I can't really say it's a terrible album because the songwriting's there. I'm just missing that kind of VH punch, Sammy sounds great on it. There's some other good rockers on here. Apolitical Blues, A Source of Infection. I don't know. It's one of those Van Halen records that I just rarely revisit because it's just lacking something for me. So that's where I'm going to put it now. All right, so coming in next, I'm going to go with Diver Down. Diver Down for me has always been one of my least favorite Van Halen records. It's got a couple fantastic songs on it, but way too many covers, a couple short little ditties and what have you. For me, Hang 'Em High is a great tune. Without a doubt. I love Secrets. I love the kind of jazzy, bluesy flair of that song. Excellent. Okay. What else? Little Guitars. Brilliant. All right. Brilliant. The Full Bug. Crunchy and heavy. The rest of it, their remake of Where Have All the Good Times Gone? It's a great song. It's a great Kinks song. They do a decent job on it, but, whatever. Oh, Pretty Woman, again, they do a good job on it. What else? Big Bad Bill, throwaway. Then you got Happy Trails, throwaway. You got the Cathedral thing, kind of cool, but kind of throwaway. Intruder. It's just a lot of filler for me. Too many covers. 3 or 4 very strong tunes. The album itself, 30 minutes long, kind of EP length? I don't know. Just, that album always left me kind of flat. For me, take those really stellar tunes from there and tack them on to the end of, add them onto the albums that came before it. And then you make those albums a little bit longer and even better and just do away with Diver Down for me. But I know it's got a lot of fans out there. So, you know what? Hey, it's just my opinion. I know if you disagree, that's totally cool. It is what it is, right? 5150. If you would have asked me this question probably 30 years ago, I would have ranked this a lot higher. I was big into this album when it came out. I have found that, for me, this album hasn't aged as well. I don't think I enjoyed it as much as I used to. Good enough, great heavy tune. It kind of starts it off on a bang. Why Can't This Be Love? Dreams, Summer Nights, Best of Both Worlds. Love Walks In. All kind of more of that kind of VH pop type of thing that they would really, do a lot more of on OU812. But, it's got Get Up. Get Up is a great tune. All right, Crankin' Sammy sounds amazing on this album, without a doubt. What else? 5150, a great song. Inside is cool. It's still a very good record. For me, I don't rank it as high as I used to. It hasn't aged as well with me, but I understand if people really, really love this a lot or maybe think it's one of the best of the Sammy era. I used to think that. I don't anymore. For next, I'm going to go with For Unlawful Carnal Knowledge. I think this album actually, I enjoy it more today than I did back then. And I liked it a lot back then. Pound Cake, good tune. Judgment Day, really good tune. All right. Pleasure Dome, killer. All right. Man on a Mission, In and Out. The Dream Is Over, good kind of mellower tune, but a lot of great hooks. Right Now, also kind of a big hit for the band. I think this album kind of had the commercialism of the two that came before it, but sees the band rocking out quite a bit more. And I think this is probably, the Sammy and the band are really kind of gelling big time. I don't know. I think for me, this album has aged a little bit better than the two that came before it. And even more so, I think, with Balance from 1995. When this album first came out, I was into it, but I think I enjoy it more today. I think this, of the 4 albums with Sammy on vocals, I think for me, I enjoy the most. Seventh Seal, you got, Amsterdam and Aftershock, a couple good, like, kind of ballady tunes. I just think this album, I like the production. It's pretty heavy. There's some really good riffs from EVH, good solos. Michael Anthony sounded great on the bass and backing vocals. I don't know. I think I tend to reach for this one a little bit more than the other 3 when it comes to the Sammy era stuff. All right. 2012, the band gets back together with Mr. Michael Anthony. Minus Michael Anthony, back together with David Lee Roth, sorry. You got Wolfgang here sitting in, right? Son of Eddie. Different kind of truth. Mostly comprised of material that, things that were written and worked on, old riffs and stuff like that back from the old days. But man, this is a heavy album. This is like the most rocking album the band has done in a long time. And I think a ton of really great material, other than the awful kickoff single and kickoff song Tattoo, which in my opinion is absolutely terrible. But the rest of the album just kicks ass. She's the Woman, You and Your Blues, the incredible Chinatown, Bullethead. Out of Space, Stay Frosty, Honey Baby Sweetie Doll, so many good tunes on here, Big River, and I think that Eddie's guitar tone is off the charts great on this album. Lethal riffs and solos. This for me was a holy cow, they're back, and that's already now 8 years ago, and I think the way it's looking right now, we've probably seen the last of Van Halen, right? All right, coming in next, I'm going to go with 1984. For me, again, some phenomenal songs and some songs I just really never need to hear anymore. Like Jump, Panama, Hot for Teacher. Sure, they're great. I never need to hear them again. But for me, I go for the deep cuts on this album. All right, House of Pain, brilliant. Girl Gone Bad, brilliant. I'll Wait, which they played a lot on the radio when this album first came out here, I think is excellent. I always liked I'll Wait better than Jump, which was the big runaway hit here. Top Jimmy, Drop Dead Legs. Top to bottom, a great bunch of songs. Some of them overplayed, but the ones that aren't still hold up really, really well. All right, now for me, the absolute cream of the Van Halen crop, the top 4, and I labored and languished over the order of these, and I've changed them around so many times, and then actually, as it turns out, they kind of are in the order that they were released. It originally wasn't working out that way, and I tell you, if you asked me next week, I could change the order on these again. But I'm going to go with number 4. I'm going to go with Fair Warning, and originally I had this as my number 1 because there's some absolute drop-dead Van Halen favorites for me on here. Mean Street, love it. Dirty Movies, love it. Unchained, love it. Push Comes to Shove, So This Is Love. Sinner's Swing, Hear About It Later. Jesus. But another one, it's a half hour long. So many of these early Van Halen records are just like, hi and bye. Come and kick your ass for 25, 30 minutes and we're gone. But I think that, I love the production on this album. Again, Edward or Eddie's tone is just killer on here. Just some classic Van Halen songs. Coming in number 3, I'm going to go Women and Children First. Again, almost ranked this higher because I think this also has some real favorites of mine. And The Cradle Will Rock, top 10 Van Halen song for me. Everybody Wants Some. Who doesn't like some of that, right? Fools, so freaking heavy. Love it. Romeo Delight, killer. Lost Control. Awesome. Another one of my favorite tunes, Take Your Whiskey Home. Kirk, if you're watching, remember we used to jam out to that all the time back in college, man. Drinking beers and listening to Take Your Whiskey Home. Could This Be Magic? Fun in a simple rhyme. Great album. Coming in at number 2, we're going to go with Van Halen 2. Again, just some drop-dead classics on here. You're No Good. Obviously a great rendition of that tune. Somebody Get Me a Doctor. Killer. Bottoms Up, Out of Love Again, bum, 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 bum. The legendary Light Up the Sky. Some of Eddie's best playing, I think, is on this album. On the first album. Well, on all of them, actually. But just this was just so groundbreaking, those first 2 albums. You got Spanish Fly right here, DOA, Women in Love and Beautiful Girls. For me, there's a couple tunes on here that, not among my favorites, but the rest are all absolutely killer. So, And of course, the wife is cranking the TV in the other room. My number one is going to be the original Van Halen self-titled debut. I mean, I don't know how many people would argue with putting it at number one, right? And I think these top four, like I said, for me, could be interchangeable almost at any given time. But, there's something about the debut, I think top to bottom is just amazing. Running with the Devil, you got the absolutely legendary, groundbreaking Eruption. You got their great cover of You Really Got Me. They did a lot of covers. That one, they really ran with that one. Ain't Talking About Love, another top 3 Van Halen song for me. I'm the One, Blistering, Jamie's Crying, Atomic Punk. I mean, that guitar tone on that, killer. What else? Little Dreamer, Ice Cream Man, On Fire. I'm on fire. David Lee Roth doing his Ian Gillan thing all across this album. I don't know. Like I said, that's my order for today. Could change a bit. I think, honestly, with the exception of VH3, lots to love. And, even on that album, there's some decent tracks on there. But, on almost all these albums, a lot to love. A hard discography to rank, because I think there's going to be people, it's like, well, you almost have to separate the two eras. They sound different from each other, obviously, because you got two different singers, two different decades, and 3 different decades. But I think that the Sammy stuff holds up pretty well, I think. There's really none of those Sammy albums are awful by any means. I think it's just different. Okay, but there's a lot of great songs on there. Arguably you could say that the band were writing better songs in the Sammy era, but the David Lee Roth era had the more iconic tracks, the more guitar-heavy tracks, the more, influential material, without a doubt, right? So it all depends on what you like. There's a lot of people who grew up in the 80s and and the Sammy stuff is what they heard first. For all of us who grew up in the, were of age in the late 70s and what have you, and we're with the band from the beginning, we always tend to gravitate towards the David Lee Roth stuff. So, it all depends on, what you like. But I think we can all agree it's all pretty good stuff. So let's recap. So coming in at number 1, Van Halen self-titled. Coming in at number 2, VH2. Coming in at number 3, Women and Children First. Coming in at number 4, Fair Warning. Coming in at number 5, 1984. Coming in at number 6, Different Kind of Truth. Coming in at number 7, Balance. Coming in at number 8, For Unlawful Carnal Knowledge. Coming in at number 9, 5150. Coming in at number 10, Diver Down. Coming in at number 11, OU812. And coming in at number 12, I'm going to go with Van Halen 3. So there you have it. So you know how it goes, guys. In the comments and feedback below, list the Van Halen albums. List them as you like them. All right, remember, there's no right or wrong answer here. All right, none. So for all you folks who are going to start chiming in, it's like, no, your list is wrong. There's no way that album is the worst. There's no way that album is the best. Hey, I never said this was definitive anything. These are just how I rank them. Feel free to do your own. So instead of going on and on about how I ranked them, let's see your rankings, because you know how it goes here. The people that complain the most about the way I rank them never list their rankings. It's all about pointing out that they don't agree with mine. Nobody has to agree with mine. In fact, I'd encourage you to have your list look different than mine. That's what this is all about. It's all about talking about the artist, the band, in this case, talking about Van Halen. So, guys, in these terrible times, with all this coronavirus shit going on, let's escape from what's going on out there for a little while. Sit here in the comments section. Let's intelligently and like adults talk about the great music and the albums of Van Halen. That's what this show is all about, right? It's what it's all about. So visit us on the web at www.seeitranquility.org. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitter. Of course, we're here on the mighty YouTube all the damn time. What's coming up, you might say? Well, in about an hour and a half, I'm going to meet up with Mike Antonelli. We're going to do that Miles Davis show we've been talking about for weeks. So that's coming up later today. I'm going to try and squeeze in that Nazareth ranking the albums today. Got Santana over the weekend as well. If I can squeeze a Beatles one in, I'm going to do that as well. I got some new stuff I want to talk about. Got the new Pat Metheny. Got the new Black Swan. All sorts of stuff happening. Got so many things on the agenda for the next few days and weeks. There is no shortage of content coming, guys. So just be patient on everything, and we'll get to everything as we get to everything, all right? So take care. We'll see you real soon. Bye-bye.